Using the terms of today's theoretical physics, there are two dualities within my models of both the photographic and televisual portal. The first duality is between the invisible and the holodeck. For photographic, this shows that an outside cloak is inverse to the inside holodeck. A further duality is between the holodeck itself and any object that you want to put into the holodeck, the photographic holodeck, to create a telepresence, a volumetric telepresence of a person inside the holodeck. And if you want to look at this tells you the basics of how to create a photographic portal. It requires morphing of the pictures to blend into the environment and to make the holodeck pop out and anything inside the holodeck. This is a dual pair of pseudo-corresponding photographic portals. Each one has a holodeck of the other's environment on the inside. That's the inverse relationship. That's the first duality, the inverse relationship between invisibility and the holodeck interiors, is that each one has the exterior of the other as their interior holodeck. The second duality can best be explained with televisual portals, and that requires mirror world topology is what I call it. And first there's the outside world, then there's the virtual cloaking interface, then there's real holodeck where John and Jane are at. Then there's a virtual holodeck that flips their images, creates telepresence with their virtual selves. And then there's transmitting and receiving cycle recursion, cyclic recursion. And then they're back into each other's real holodeck again. And it goes to a cycle. See, there's John in televisual portal 1. And there's Jane as a virtual image, telepresence inside his holodeck. And then there's Jane inside her holodeck. And there's John outside her holodeck. And that's her virtual world, and that's her virtual body in televisual portal 2. And this is a televisual portal. It's invisible on the outside, and it creates a telepresent holodeck inside one of the chambers of one of the three interface chambers of the portal, the holodeck chamber, the real holodeck. That's like a city background on a bay. And so this is virtual material overlap of televisual mirror world topology. And there's a dual televisual telepresence of both. Well, I call this Bob and virtual Alice and virtual Bob and Alice. But people get tired of those names, so I call them John and Jane. And this shows the televisual portal mirror world topology. The cloak interface is right here. The holodeck interface is right here, where both of them exist in bodily form, or physical form. The secondary holodeck interface is right here. That's where they exist in virtual form. And then these mark out the real and virtual, the real holodeck and the virtual holodeck, the real holodeck and the virtual holodeck. And then this is a dual televisual virtual transmission of both of their virtual selves to overlap their physical bodies. And this would be the real John and the virtual Alice, or the virtual Jane. And this would be the virtual John and the real Jane. This shows a depiction of John going into Jane's holodeck inside her televisual portal. So there's a duality between inverse invisibility and holodecks, and the second duality between the holodeck itself, the backdrop holodeck, and the virtual forms, the photographic or televisual forms that they take. Well, thanks a lot.